Should we get to our ballots?
Yeah, man.
You want to go first? You want me to? We have all Big Ten first team, second team, player of the year, freshman of the year, transfer of the year, and then I asked you to pick 1 through 14 rankings as well.
Okay. Now, do you want to go first team? I do first, then you do first team, or you want me to just do it all?
Why don't we let's do the awards first. So you can do all Big Ten first team, and then I'll do mine, and then all Big Ten second team, and then I'll do mine, and then the awards, and then the rankings.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let me just pull this up here. All right. So for my first team, I got Tyson Walker, Terrence Shannon, Boo Buie, Zach Edey, and Coleman Hawkins on my first team.
Wow.
That's what I have on my first team. Second team. Wait, I do second team, right?
Well, I'll jump in and do mine quickly.
Okay.
4 of them are the same. I got Edey, Buie, Shannon, Walker. I do not have Coleman Hawkins. I have Jahmir Young.
Okay. So you went you just did the four guards, basically.
Pretty much. I think those are clearly the best 5. I think there's a drop off to 6. And I think that was the consensus from the 28 writers as well.
Okay. All right. And then I did for my second team, I had AJ Hoggard, Jahmir Young, Bruce Thornton, Cliff Amourier, and Olivier Nkamhoua.
Okay. Interesting. So you had Thornton, Cliff, Jahmir Young, Nkamhoua, and who?
Hoggard.
Okay. Got it. So we have 2 different then on our list of 10. My second team is Bruce Thornton, Cliff Amourier, AJ Hoggard. I have Braden Smith, and I have Deshaun Harris-Smith.
Wow, you had Deshaun Harris-Smith second team.
I do. So I think one of the things with projecting these teams often is that people underrate freshmen. I think it's rare that you go back and people are missing returning players that we didn't gas up in the offseason. I think it's often that an impact freshman just comes in and is better than people. Like Jalen Hood-Schifino last year was step on the court, all Big Ten good. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he was on a lot of the preseason list stuff like that. There's a pretty big gap here. When you look at this, I think there's a consensus 8 everybody feels good about. And I think it's the 8 we had on our teams, right? It's the first team 5. Everybody's really hype about Bruce Thornton's breakout year. Cliff is a no-brainer on one of the 2 teams, and AJ Hoggard's going to have the production, so he's a no-brainer on one of the 2 teams. Then you're picking who's your guy and who's not. I've been a Braden Smith guy all offseason. I think Purdue's going to end up with 2 guys on these teams. You love Coleman Hawkins. You've been super high on him, so I don't have a huge problem with you including that. But if you're going to take a shot, it's wide open for that 10th spot. It could be Nkamhoua. It certainly could be. It could be a lot of other guys as well. It could be one of the Iowa guys, Peyton Sanford or Tony Perkins. To me, I think DHS is way more talented than all those guys. And I think he's going to come in and play 30 minutes a game. And I also think Maryland's going to be very good. I've seen a lot of Julian Reese hype on these teams. Dante Scott used to be picked on these teams. He was a breakout guy. Everybody's hyping up Jahmir Young as a first team guy. But to me, if Maryland is actually the 3rd best team, their second best player is DHS. He's going to be a star in my mind. So yeah, I'm willing to go on record with it. And that's an obvious segue into my freshman of the year, which is Deshaun Harris-Smith. But if he is the freshman of the year, I think he makes an all Big Ten team, which is why he's on my second team. Who's your freshman of the year?
My freshman year is Deshaun Harris-Smith as well.
Okay. Do you agree? I had a tweet over the weekend where I said, the more I think about it, Maryland should be clearly at 3. There should be separation there. Do you agree with me on that?
I have Maryland at 3 in my rankings. I don't think they're clearly there though. I guess that's where the only disconnect would be. I still have I still hold Ohio State could fight for that 3 spot, or another team could maybe sneak in for that 3 spot. But I think that you should have Maryland there as a preseason ranking. That's where I personally have them.
Okay. Yeah, records end up being flimsy too. Sometimes the best 3rd team finishes 6th in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but if when you look at it with this Maryland team, I'm just in Jahmir Young, Sean Harris-Smith, Kaiser, Julian Reese is good. Dante Scott, for people who like to buy into preseason hype videos too, go check out Maryland's last week video. Just Dante Scott hits a double behind the back, dribble through the lane, dish to Julian Reese for a dunk. It's just this team has talent. They do. and they're well coached. So I don't know. I mean, I'll probably get to the clearly third point like you eventually, but this team is really, really good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. The more I just see it listed out, like if you and I are both high on Ohio State, that's who we've thrown like in competition with them for third. I think Illinois is also like consensus in competition with them for third, and Indiana as well. If you go up and down the list of guys on these teams, though, like Jameer Young is right up there. Like it's him and Terrence Shannon are the two best like singular players. But Deshaun Harris-Smith is better than any freshman the other teams have. If you're going to back Ohio State, you're hoping that Bruce Thornton is as good as Jameer Young already is. And I don't think there is any. Like, I like Roddy Gale, but I don't think there's a comp there with Harris-Smith. Maryland's front court is more experienced. I think Julian Reese and Dante Scott is like as solid comes. I like Kaiser's upside. So yeah, the more I'm listening out, like Maryland's the only team in the Big Ten that has an argument for 4 players in the top 25. And like I'm picking Harris-Smith second team. Other people have picked Reese. Jameer Young is first team. Like, I think looking back on it, we're kind of just overlooking the team that has a bunch of guys who deserve to be named on this compared to like Illinois has Shannon, Ohio State has Thornton, Indiana has, I don't know, a messy front court. Like I don't think there's a comp here. So gas up Maryland a little more for me. And Harris-Smith specifically as freshman of the year. You like that, right? We're on the same page.
Yeah, I did. I did kind of throw a little loop into this. I picked like a second choice for it. Did you do that for yours by any chance?
I can right now.
Okay, I had Mbako as my second choice.
Okay, yeah, that's the right pick probably. Actually, no, it's not. Scotty Middleton's my pick.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you.
I like that pick. Okay. Let's see. Transfer. Obviously, you probably guessed since I had him on my second team, but I had Olivier Kamwa as the best transfer.
Yeah, I was surprised more people didn't pick him in the actual poll. Ace Baldwin won it as the consensus there, and I think it is between Kamwa or AJ Storr or Ace Baldwin, in my opinion. Those would be the 3 names I would consider. And yeah, I think if you look at track record stuff here, just Michigan under Juwan Howard has done a way better job at featuring players production wise as a first or second option to get them all Big Ten consideration. No matter how good the team is, it's highly likely that Michigan's first or second option will end up receiving some honors at the end of the year. And on paper, Kamwa is that. AJ Storr, like go down the list. AJ Storr on paper might be anywhere from their first to fifth option on that team. Genuinely, like you don't know. And Ace Baldwin, like, God bless him, I think he's a good player. I think there's an adjustment curve for all these VCU transfers under Rhodes. And everybody that picked Ace Baldwin as transfer of the year picked Penn State, like, in the bottom 2 in this conference. So, like, if you're buying that Baldwin's actually that good, then I think you got to buy Penn State to be a little better. And those two things didn't map to me. So give me Kamwa. I think Michigan overachieves a little bit. And yeah, I think at the end of the year, we look back and feel pretty stupid that a Juwan Howard first option wasn't included on these lists.
Yeah, my backup pick was Damask.
Oh, wow.
Illinois.
Wow. Buying that hype a lot, huh?
Yeah, I am. I'm also starting to buy, and I know people are probably going to be like, oh, here they go again. They just want to get them on the thumbnail type thing. I'm kind of really starting to buy into this Illinois team. I think people are a little bit too harsh on them.
Interesting.
Just a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there's a conversation there. Let's save that for a broader conversation. But okay. And then we kind of already did it, but player of the year.
Player of the year, Edey. And because I ranked them, I had Edey player of the year clearly, Terrence Shannon Jr. as who will be the backup player of the year, and Tyson Walker is the third.
Okay. My player of the year is Malik Hall. And before you cut me off, I just think there's a huge jump here. 8 points a game guy. Joey Hauser's shots are available, though. I don't know if you heard that. Joey Hauser's shots are available, and you have to expect there's a huge increase in opportunity for Malik Hall. So my backup, by the way, since you did a couple of backups, my backup would be Jaden Akins. Again, expecting a huge leap. Joey Hauser's shots are available. And I'll go Jackson Kohler third. Another guy, breakout guy, pedigree recruit, and Joey Hauser's shots are available. So Let's get to our picks. Top 14 in order. What are your Big Ten picks?
Make sure I didn't forget anybody. You know how I do it. I had MSU, Purdue, Maryland, Ohio State, Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern, Penn State, Nebraska, Minnesota.
Overwhelmingly, we are very aligned on this. I'm
Really?
fascinated by this. I wasn't expecting that. I think this offseason, I think you and I like talking every day has kind of led to us like convincing each other of our beliefs in a lot of ways, which is good that we can still disagree like we did today. But yeah, we're pretty on board here. I'll get to mine in a second. I want to nitpick you though. Haven't you voted Purdue ahead of Michigan State all offseason? Like in rankings and stuff, anytime it's come up, haven't you said Purdue's ahead of Michigan State?
I coming into the season, yes.
But so your vote is not a preseason rankings then?
Yeah, I guess technically that goes against the whole preseason ranking thing that I put forward, and I apologize, but I just want to stay first, man.
Just comes down to it. It's you think Michigan State will end up being the best team in the Big Ten?
I mean, look, I saw someone put a vote for Ben Krinkle as the first team as an all Big Ten member. So I feel like if they could show some bias there, I can show some bias.
Okay. I'm just making sure because I honestly was like, am I misremembering this? Because
No. You are correct.
Okay. I respect the flip up then. I respect the honesty. Here's my order, and I do want to analyze it a little bit with where we agree on some of this. But my order is Purdue at 1, Michigan State at 2, Maryland at 3, Ohio State at 4, Illinois at 5, Rutgers at 6, Michigan at 7, Wisconsin at 8, Iowa at 9, Indiana at 10, Northwestern 11, Nebraska 12, Penn State 13, Minnesota 14.
Indiana 10?
So outside of Indiana, aren't you and I pretty much like, I think going down the list, Maryland, Ohio State, Illinois, Rutgers was all in the same order, right?
Yeah.
So 3 through 6, we see everything the same way. Then you and I flipped Michigan and Wisconsin, I believe.
Yeah, and I had Indiana 7.
Okay. So other than being opposite of Indiana, then you and I have Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, though, pretty much grouped together.
Yeah, and you had Iowa above Northwestern, right?
I had Iowa above Northwestern, yep.
And then last 3, Penn State, Nebraska, Minnesota.
I had Nebraska over Penn State, but I think our groupings of everything are the same here.
Yeah.
Minus, I have Indiana 10th, and you have them what, 7th?
Let's see. I do have them 7th, yes.
Should we have the Indiana discussion?
I just think like the difference between 7 and 10 in this conference, I think you mentioned it, is not going to be that big of a gap, I guess.
Let's draw a line out of your rankings, though. How many teams make the tournament? Like, where's the cutoff? Who's the last team in? Who's the first team out?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 teams making it.
It becomes a lot when you start to do it, you know?
Yeah, it does. Because, like, I don't know. Like,
I think they got 8 last year, though.
Was it?
Yeah, because Michigan and Rutgers missed it, and then the 4 bad teams.
Okay, I think
it might have been 9 because Penn State was in.
Yeah.
How many teams made the tournament last year?
It was Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin didn't make it, Rutgers didn't make it, Penn State, Northwestern.
It was 5. It was so they got 9 in and 5 out last year.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because it was Ohio State, Michigan, Rutgers,
Illinois,
Nebraska, Minnesota missed it. Everybody else made it.
Got it. Okay.
So 9 was the number last year.
I think I would feel comfortable. I'm gonna say 8. So like the cutoff is Michigan. Michigan's the last team to make it.
Okay.
That means Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern. None of those teams make it.
Okay. Yeah, my gut when I did this was 7 make it, but I think realistically we always get more than that. So I'll say 9. I will say it's the same number as last year. 9 teams make it. and I will draw the cutoff after Iowa for me. So that means Rutgers, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa all make it as like bubbly teams, and then the 5 big favorites. Yeah, I'm cutting off before Indiana, man. I am. I don't think this team makes any sense. I think there's talent, but I think like you're banking on non-negotiables of Xavier Johnson is healthy and good and has his brain wired the right way all season long. Even if that happens, I think there's still questions. Like, is Trey Galloway actually good? Is he good enough to play 30 minutes at the 2? I don't think so. Does the front court we've gone over the questions before, but more than anything, like I don't think Indiana talent wise is 10th in this conference, but I think they're going to finish 10th because I think it's train wreck disaster potential. Like I think if something goes wrong, it blows up in disastrous fashion the way Michigan's season did last year. And this year that team is Indiana.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think we mentioned on a previous episode, like we think because of the personalities that like a team like Illinois might have, it could go one way or the other as far as good or bad. I truly believe that Indiana is one of the teams you're gonna have to watch early on, because if it goes bad early on, I don't know if there's like a right the ship type thing. I think it completely just crashes out and burns.
I think there is a world where, while healthy, I'm not predicting injury, I'm predicting healthy, Kel'el Ware and Xavier Johnson are not playing for this team by March 1. I think there is a world where that happens.
Just done.
I think there's a world where Kel'el just like opts out at some point.
Just like I'm just going to the draft.
I mean, everybody's talking like he's like a guaranteed great player for this team, and like everything I've seen is like he wasn't playing in their scrimmage this weekend or whatever that was. Like nobody knows why. Like there's so many concerns based on what we heard from Oregon with this kid. And Xavier Johnson, man, I get it. Like good player on paper. Where the hell was he last season when Indiana was actually good? Like. And you can say, oh, he was injured. He was injured. Then he wasn't injured anymore. He wasn't playing for Indiana at the end of the season. So I don't know what is happening there, but I don't like it. I think disaster strikes. Okay. I feel pretty good about our alignment there.